Hey, Mark. Thank you very much. It was a great presentation, and I've shared my screen. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Looks great, Arvind.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'm going to talk about, as Mark said, I'm going to talk about installing and using Mobile Center. Uh, uh, And we're going to start with, what is Mobile Center, introduce Mobile Center, and then talk a little bit about the architecture, the installation best practices, and then, show a demo on using Mobile Center and how it integrates with, other Micro Focus tools, other automation tools. Maybe we'll focus on one tool, and then but other tools pretty much work a similar way. So we at TIA started using, looking into mobile testing and mobile automation almost 5 years back. We used to, use a tool called Mobile Labs, and we switched over to Mobile Center almost a year back. We started looking at Mobile Center 2 years back, and then we did a POC on it, and then we switched to Mobile Center, mid last year, and then we have been using Mobile Center in our environment for almost 6 to 7 months. But the Mobile Center has been in the market for almost 3 years now. And when we started doing our POC, we were basically comparing, mainly interested in Mobile Center because of its integration with other Micro Focus tools. As we already had, ALM and UFT for functional testing, Performance Center for performance load testing in-house, and so based on that, we wanted to look at Mobile Center. But initially, when we started looking at Mobile Center, we had some, performance issues that we wanted Micro Focus to fix. And after they did that, we switched to Mobile Center. All right. So Mobile Center, obviously, as the name indicates, it's a mobile testing platform, and it integrates seamlessly with the tools, other tools like UFT for functional testing, and for test automation tools, UFT and LeanFT, and for performance testing tools like Performance Center, and it also integrates well with Appium for test automation. So it supports real devices and emulators. That is one of real good benefits of using Mobile Center, right? So we can have an on-prem lab setup where we have a collection of Android and iOS devices, and it also works with the cloud, where we can have where we can connect to Amazon device farm, and you can get devices from the cloud and then execute your tests there too. And it also integrates via plugin to Jenkins. If you want to, if you have a defined DevOps environment and a pipeline, and then you can do an automated build and deploy, and if you have a well-defined automated test suite, you can actually kick it off from Jenkins using a plugin. So Mobile Center architecture. So it's a client-server architecture, and it has a server and a connector piece. The server is basically it provides the UI for you to manage your devices, mobile applications, and it also lets the administrators to manage, create devices groups and user groups, and manage the settings. It can be a Windows or Linux server, and for a connector, it's connects. I mean, as the name indicates, right? It connects to the mobile devices, and it can be. The server comes with its own connector. You can actually hook up your devices to the server directly. You can connect the devices to it and then access the devices remotely. But if you haven't want to build an enterprise solution, you might want to have a different connector environment, right? Basically, it supports Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. For our environment, we have a Windows connector. It sits on a Windows 2012 virtual environment, and we have two Mac OS connectors. One we have for iOS devices. We have about 20 devices connected to the Mac machine, and we have about 18, 19 Android devices connected to another Mac Mini. So we bought this the cabinet to house our devices. So it's basically a 48 device cabinet, and it has 3 USB hubs in it. It's from Triplite, and it also houses the connector that's the Mac Mini that we have in house. It also houses that, and the 3 USB hubs are connected to the Mac Mini, and each USB hub is connected to 16 devices. It works for us if you're looking to build a mobile solution, and it's a good place to start. All right. So installation, right? We started with a dedicated server, and we wanted to keep our server separate from the connector. So I would advise you to do that. That way, you don't really put a lot of load on one machine. So essentially, have a dedicated server and a connector environment. And if you have the budget available, I would advise you to have separate environment for iOS and Android devices. That way, if you'd be able to, in case of issues, right, you'll be able to troubleshoot the issues appropriately. And if you have a Mac OS connector, so the connector supports Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. If you have a Mac OS connector, advise you to limit the number of devices to 16. We have 20 devices in our environment, but if we go more than 16, we have seen issues come up, and I would recommend you to limit the number of devices to 16. And we are working with HP. The Mac OS supports the connector software supports 50 devices. There is an official support for it, but we have seen issues when we do connect more than 16. So we are working with Micro Focus to fix those issues, but at this time I would recommend to stick to 16. Use a genuine USB cable to connect to the devices, especially with Android. We have encountered issues when we use third-party USB cables. Again, the recommendation from Micro Focus is that you should be using the cable that came with the device. If not, use a genuine USB cable. with the iOS devices, you need to enable UI automation for it to work. And with Android devices, you need to enable developer options and USB debugging for the connector to be able to recognize your device and install the agents on it. That is for any mobile testing solution. You have to do that. A quick, if you're not sure how to do that, a quick, Google should be able to help you with that. And we advise you to, for Android, for the devices to stay awake. That way, it doesn't, lock itself, or that would mean even for iOS devices to disable the auto lock so that you can connect to the devices. And keep the brightness to the minimum because you're not going to look at the device. Essentially, you're going to VNC into the device or do a remote into the device. So you don't want to eat up battery or when power reduce the power consumption and heat generation. Another thing is place the devices in vertical position, like for the orientation change to work properly. This is again something that we encountered issues when changing orientation. So finally, having the devices in a vertical position helped with the changing the orientation. And when installing the connector and connecting the iOS devices, the agents need to be signed with a development certificate. This is for you to be able to install the agents on the device for the initial use. Again, this is a must with any testing solution out there. So it's not really something with Mobile Center. Any solution that you go to Mobile Labs or Perfecto Mobile, you need to be signing your agents that go on the devices. Another tip is to use app packaging and signing service. This is for the application under test. So for the that way, it's automatically installed on to the. I'll talk about it during my demo, but this is this is not required but recommended. And I would recommend to set up automatic app uploads to Mobile Center. That way, your applications are not, you don't have to drag and drop or upload your build every time your build is ready. So you can actually use the APIs from Mobile Center to automatically upload applications to it. All right. Okay, let's go to the fun part of the demo. Right. So how we have set up is we have integrated our Mobile Center to LDAP AD authentication. So if the users can use their email addresses or the AD IDs, network username and password to be able to log into Mobile Center. But for this demo, I'm going to use my local admin account so that I can showcase the admin features. So log in, and so as soon as you can log in, you can see the UI layout, right? So there are 3 tabs: the application, devices, administration tab. A normal user would only see 2 tabs: apps and devices tab. And the left side of the pane, you can see the filter. This is for both the apps and devices. where you can filter, based on your criteria, and you can see, what you're really looking for. And you can, since we are using a local account, I can change my password here. But if you're using your LDAP AD account, changing password doesn't work because it's essentially a network. But if you're using a local account, you can change password or log out here. Another thing is, if you are logged in as an administrator, you can collect the logs. For example, if you encounter a bug, and if you want to send the logs to Micro Focus, or you want to send the logs to somebody else for review, right? You can collect. You don't have to log into different server, the connector server, or the actual Micro Focus. Mobile Center server to collect the logs. One place you can collect all the logs when you go, go to here to collect the logs. So for apps, so let's focus on one of our applications here. So these apps, as I have said, are automatically uploaded to Mobile Center. So that's how our build process is. Once the build is complete, we run a script in Jenkins that would automatically upload our application into Mobile Center. And the Mobile Center, once it receives the application, the IPA or APK, for an iOS device, iOS application, it would re-sign and repackage the application. So when I say re-sign, right, it would re-sign the application for our devices, so that when we install the application onto our test devices, we don't have to go in and trust our enterprise certificate. So to avoid that, we re-sign our applications using a developer certificate and our provisioning profile. And so you can see what build or version or upload time, those information you can see here. And there are, you can, if you want to delete an application entirely, all the builds inside the application. So right now we have quite a few builds, and if you want to delete everything together, you need to delete all the application uploads here. But if you want to delete an individual build, you need to go into more information and then select the particular build and then delete it. You can also manually upload your application by dragging and dropping your IPAs here, or if you click on upload application, it would open up the dialog box to find out your IPAs or APK files to upload here. So one other thing that the UI helps me is to understand the minimum requirement of an application. So for us, let's say, for our TIA application, you can see it supports, iOS 10.3 plus. It doesn't support anything less than 10.3. Similarly, for Android, it supports, Android 4.4 plus. So those are, we can get all those information from the UI. And when we go to the devices, right? So, one thing that I would like for mobile Micro Focus to see do is, we really would like to see a tabular form so that we can clearly see a lot more information and a lot more devices rather than scrolling and trying to find the device. but I really like the filter here that helps me to filter out the devices that I really want to use. Since our application supports 10.3 plus, I can filter out the available devices, and then connect to a device that I want to connect to. For our demo, I have reserved a couple of devices so that none of the other users in our environment take it up. So you can from the displayed information, you can see the two devices are used by me. If it is used by others or reserved by others, you can check it out here. Like it's used reserved by one of our users in the environment. And other information that helps us is like you can see the actual device. So how we have named our devices, we have given a proper name to identify the actual device model, and we also given the location of the device. If we find any issues, if we want to go to the physical device, and then if we want to troubleshoot with the device, we can actually easily find it by this location information. And you can actually remotely restart a device from the UI using restart device. It triggers a command on the connector server, and then it restarts, issues a iDevice command, and then it restarts this device. And we can also, if for some reason the devices go offline, right, we can try and reconnect the device, which would trigger the agent installation process on the device. And I mean, that's the use of a reconnect device button here. All right, let's connect to a device, and this is an iPad 10.5. This is an actual physical device. Like if you see, open up the camera, you can see it's an actual physical device sitting inside our cabinet. I mean, you can actually see another device, that's sitting close to it. So from here on, you can actually install the app that you want to install. Our application. You can choose the application that you want to install, and then install it, and then use it. I'm not going to go through the process of actually installing and using, mainly because it takes 5 to 6 minutes for it to push it to the connector and then install it. And I would recommend selecting uninstall the application after current session, because that way it leaves the device at an initial state for the next user. I mean, I'm on a corporate network here on Perm, but if I want to work on a VPN, it is a bit, if I'm working on a bit slow connection, I usually reduce the image quality to like 75%, and then zoom it so that the image or the screen share loads a bit faster for me, and I'm able to interact with the device much faster. I mean, I can change the orientation. Right now, the orientation is locked for our testing, but if the orientation is unlocked, we can change the orientation. You can change orientation or take a screenshot and do all these things here. And one other thing that I really like is if I want to send a long URL, I can actually paste. I don't have to go type use the keyboard here to type it on the device. I can actually send a text to the device where I can, if it is a long URL, it helps to do your testing much faster. All right, and when you close a session, right? It's you should click on the close button to close your session. That way, the connector communicates to the server to release the session, and then your device is available for others to use. The easiest way is to click close tab to close it, but that is not the recommended way. You need to click on the close button to actually release your session. So when you connect, there is a lock on the device. If you see here, there is a lock on the device, so that nobody can connect to it. So you need to release the lock. You need to click on the close button to release the lock for it to be released. So the administration, in the interest of time, let me do a quick thing here. You can actually group the devices. Based on if you want to segregate the devices for testing, you can create a separate group and then allocate users to it so that in the shared, it's not available in the shared pool. And you can actually connect to Amazon device farm from updating here the settings, and you can actually and we can also do the LDAP integration here settings too. LDAP integration. Actually, I did want to talk about the connectors too. We have two connectors here. You can see a quick overview of what versions you are running, and then how many devices are connected and how many devices are being used. Those kind of information here too. Actually, I wanted to do a more in depth too, with respect to connecting the devices, connecting to the devices from Performance Center. But since we are out of time, we can easily connect to it. The integration is very smooth with respect to all the Micro Focus tools. This is a True Client native mobile recording with Vuegen. So you need to just fill in the details, and once you hit connect, you can actually connect to a physical device and do your recording for the scripts. So going back, so my contact information is here. If you have any questions regarding Mobile Center or or any mobile testing, I've been using the different tools for quite some time, for the past 4 or 5 years now. Feel free to hit me. I should be able to help you guys out.